Welcome students. This is our third session of the topic sexual reproduction in flowering plants, and in this session we are going to discuss about pollination, types of pollination, pollen pistil interaction and pollen germination. In the previous sessions we have already discussed about the structure of a stamen, pistil, development of microspore, development of megaspore and the formation of female gametophyte, that is embryosac. So in this session, we are going to discuss about all the processes which takes place after completion of these all steps. So that is pollination and pollen pistil interaction. After the maturation of female gametophyte, there is a need to reach all the pollen grains from anther to stigma, and that step is called as pollination. So the definition will be the transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma, and that term is called as pollination. Depending on the mean of pollen transfer, pollination could be of two types. First one is called self-pollination and second one is called cross-pollination. Self-pollination is a term when transfer of pollens takes place from the anther to stigma of the same flower or to the stigma of another flower but on the same plant. So that term is called self-pollination, and it is again divided into two types. First is autogamy and second one is called geitonogamy. In this picture we can understand all the steps. Here this one is one plant, this one is another plant. So here first type of pollination is taking place within the same flower. That means this flower is pollinated by its self pollens. So that term is called as autogamy. That means autogamy is a type of pollination in which flower gets pollinated by its own pollen. Second case, you can see here that pollen from one flower is shifted to the stigma of the another flower but on the same plant. That means shifting is taking place within the same plant but in between the two flowers. So that term is called geitonogamy. So these two modes are actually the types of self-pollination because the pollination is taking place in the same plant. Third case, you can see that in the plants of same variety, the transfer is taking place but from one plant to the another plant. That means here one flower is contributing the pollens. So here pollen grain transfers from one flower of the first plant to the flower of the second plant. That means here transfer is taking place in between two different plants. So there is chances of variation maximum because here crossing is taking place. So that process is called cross pollination, and it is also termed as genogamy or allogamy. So in all the plants, complete autogamy, that is not possible because synchronization in between the maturity of pollen grains as well as the stigma receptivity, that is difficult. So some of the plants accept some varieties of processes just to perform the autogamy as well as geitonogamy. Some of the plants like Commelina, Viola and Oxalis produces two types of flowers. One is called Chasmogamous flowers, another one is called Clistogamous flowers. You can see here in the picture, in this picture, two types of flowers are shown from Commelina. One which is exposed, it is called Chasmogamous flowers, and one which is closed is called Clistogamous flower. So here are some of the features of Chasmogamous flowers. So the speciality of Chasmogamous flower is that they do open and expose their anther and stigma. Here you can see it's a bisexual flower where a stigma and anther are exposed to the environment. So there is chances for cross pollination also. and self-pollination also. Another criteria is, so because they are exposed, so they can show autogamy, but geitonogamy and xenogamy cannot be excluded. So there is chances for autogamy also and xenogamy also and geitonogamy also. But on the other hand, within the same flower, if there is presence of second type of flower, then in this flower only autogamy takes place. And why autogamy takes place? Because such type of flowers, they do not open at all. Here the stigma and the stamen both are placed at a very close proximity to each other. That is why directly pollen grain falls over the stigma and always autogamy takes place. So this is the difference between such two types of flowers, and this is the adaptation that is carried by these special plants like Commelina viola and oxalis. This topic of your textbook, that is very important for your examination point of view. In the case of geitonogamy and xenogamy, plants require different types of agents just to achieve the pollination process. So those agents are called pollinating agents or pollinators. Those pollinators are divided as abiotic pollinators or biotic pollinators. Majority of the plants uses biotic pollinators to achieve the pollination process. There are basically two abiotic components which acts as the pollinator. First one is wind and second one is water. And the process of pollination which takes place with the help of wind is called anemophily, and which takes place with the help of water is called hydrophily. Very few plants uses these abiotic factors as the pollinating agents because those plants will have to adopt some of the features just to facilitate such type of pollinating agents and pollination. Majority of the flowers adopt biotic pollinators just to achieve the pollination process. In those, some special agents are snails, insects, birds, bats, and other vertebrates. In those, birds and insects are important. So plants which adopt biotic pollinators having the adaptations like they have some fragrance, they are bright in color, they are very attractive just to attract these birds and other insects or any other animals to pollinate themselves. So the adaptation for such flowers will be they must be scented, they must have some nectar, they are having attractive color, very bright color. On the other hand, if the flower which pursue some abiotic agents, basically if the flowers is pollinated by the wind, then the pollen grains must be very light in weight. They must have some feathery structure and they must be very small in structure so that they can fly with the help of very ease in the wind and pollinate the flowers. On the other hand, water, very few of the aquatic plants gets pollinated with the help of water because some of the flowers which floats over the water surface, they do pollinate with the help of insects or some other birds. But those flowers, those aquatic plants which are submerged totally, they adopt some of the adaptations like in those conditions, the pollen grains having some ribbon-like a structure, they having some sticky outer surface just to prevent them to stick with the water, and they have a ribbon-like a structure just to make them easy to float in the water. So each of the flower having some special adaptations just to achieve the pollination process. Some of the flowering plants, basically the bisexual plants, develops number of strategies to discourage self-pollination and to encourage cross-pollination. Why so? Because it has been observed that continuous self-pollination results in inbreeding depression. That means due to the gradual self-pollination, plants becomes weaker over the generation. That is why some of the flowers, they adopt some of the strategies just to discourage self-pollination and to encourage cross-pollination. So here we will see some of the strategies of flowers. First one is unisexuality. That means if the sexes are separate, if one of the plant bear male flower and another will bear female flower, that means there is automatically the chances for cross pollination will occur. Second one is dichogamy. Dichogamy is the strategies in which some of the flowers having different maturation periods of anthers and stigma. That means in some of the cases anther matures first and in some of the cases stigma matures first. So in that case, just because of the immature another part, chances of cell pollination reduces and chances of cross pollination increases. So the flowers where anther matures first are called protoandry. Example is sunflower, and the flowers where stigma matures first, those are called protogyny. So example is banyan. So this is also one of the strategy to encourage cross pollination. Next one is the heterostyle. In that strategy, there are varieties of lengths of styles present in the same plant variety. That means within the same plant variety, some of the plants will get different length of styles of the female reproductive part. For example, jasmine and primrose. So because of the indifferent position of a style and stamen, self-pollination is prevented. So chances of cross-pollination will be increases. Fourth one is self-incompatibility or self-sterility. That stands for inabilities of gametes to fuse. Example, grasses and orchid. So that stands for inabilities of gametes to fuse. That means one of the gamete will be sterile. If a plant will have both type of gametes, so among these two gametes, one will be self-sterile. That is why that promotes the chances of cross-pollination. So this is the strategy of self-incompatibility or self-sterility. So these four strategies are adopted by some of the bisexual flower just to encourage cross-pollination and to discourage self-pollination. So in such case, hybrid vigor also increases and variety of the plant that also enhanced. This portion is called outbreeding devices adopted by flowers, and this topic is also very important for your examinations. Pollination simply means the transfer of pollen to the stigma of the flower, but it does not guarantee the transfer of the right or compatible type of pollen to the stigma. Often, some of the wrong pollens can also land on the stigma. So, pollen-pistil interaction is very much required for the pistil to accept the pollen. Pistil having the inbuilt ability to recognize the right or compatible type of pollen. If the compatible pollen falls on the pistil, pistil accept the pollen and leads to post-pollination changes. And if the incompatible pollen falls on the pistil, pistil rejects the pollen and prevents pollen germination growth of pollen tube. And this all process is due to the chemical component of the pollen interacting the pistil, which we have studied in class 10, that is the chemotropic type of movement. So after pollination, pollen adhesion, that means the sticking of pollen over the stigma, then pollen hydration takes place. That means pollen reduces its moisture just to make all the criteria capable for the germination of pollen tube. Then pollen germination takes place. During the pollen germination, pollen tube develops and that pollen tube enters into the stigma. Then when it penetrates the stigma, when it enters the stigma, then that pollen tube growth through the style. So it grows throughout the style and reaches to the ovule part. And when it reaches to the ovule, that pollen tube enters through the micropylar end, which we have studied in the previous session. Here it is the diagrammatic representation of pollen germination over the female gametophyte. You can see here pollen. After pollination, pollen adhesion takes place, then formation of pollen tube, and it grows towards the ovule or embryo sac, and then it enters through the micropylar end, and then fertilization takes place. Fertilization, as we all know, that it's the process of fusion of gametes. Here it is a schematic diagram which shows the fertilization in angiospermic plants. This pollen tube, entrance of pollen tube, and we all know that in three-celled stage within the pollen grain there is formation of two male gametes. First is called primary male gamete and second one is called secondary male gamete. This pollen tube reaches and enters inside the embryo sac. We have studied that embryo sac having the 7-celled 8-nucleated structure. Here, by the entry of pollen tube, both male gametes enters inside the embryo sac. Primary male gamete enters with the help of synergids by rupturing the filiform apparatus, and that primary male gamete fuses with the egg cell. And here it forms the zygote, a type of diploid cell. Secondary male gamete then enters and fuses with the polar nuclei and form the endosperm. Here in this diagram you can see that this is the structure which is called zygote. It is diploid in nature, and after the fusion of secondary male gamete with two polar nuclei, it forms a triploid structure which is called endosperm. This spatial process where fertilization takes place 2 times, that is a spatial process which occurs in all angiospermic plants, and it is called double fertilization. This term double fertilization was first of all discovered by Navaskin, and it is seen in 2 different types of plants, Lilium and Fritillaria plants. This states that the fusion of one male gamete with egg and the fusion of other male gamete with polar nuclei, and just because 2 times fertilization is taking place, this special process is called double fertilization. In the first process, in which primary male gamete fuses with egg cell and forms the zygote, it is termed as syngamy, and the second process in which secondary male gamete fuses with polar nuclei, which is already in diploid state, and forms a primary endospermic nucleus or pen, which will later on develop into endosperm, a type of triploid structure that is termed as triple fusion. That means double fertilization is the combination of two different processes. First one is syngamy and second one is triple fusion. In syngamy, primary male gamete fuses with egg nucleus to form zygote, which will later on develop into embryo, and in triple fusion, secondary male gamete fuses with polar nuclei just to form the primary endospermic nucleus or pen, which will later on develop into endosperm, which is actually the nourishing in nature. This zygote will develop into embryo, and that embryo will develop into seed, and this endosperm nourishes the embryo. So this is the term double fertilization, and in the next video we will see the developmental process of that embryo, which is called embryogenesis. Thank you.